news, everyone!
Patch 17.2.1 is live. It was announced Friday last week because they never want to give us enough time to cover a change on the show before it is implemented into the game. I don't know. I guess at least we got a pre-announcement. I feel like the team has very much been okay with just, here's a thing we gave you no warning about, everybody, as of late. So I was happy to at least get to take a look at these buffs and nerfs before they hit the game, even though selfishly as a podcaster, it wasn't early enough to make last week's show. But whatever the case is, a lot of cards got changed. And mercifully, a Twitter user by the name of at @imic_plays, IMIK_plays, made buff and nerf images because for some reason the team isn't putting these together anymore. They used to, and they were very helpful for the video stream of a podcast that covers buffs and nerfs when they happen. So shout out to that Twitter user. Go give @imic_plays a follow on Twitter, because that's what we'll be using if you're watching the live stream or VOD of the podcast, which means we're going in the order that Imic put together, which means we're starting with buffs, Vigil, which means we're also starting with a single Paladin card, Paladin receiving more buffs after having already received some buffs, with Aldor Attendant. This is the 2-mana 2/3 Paladin minion that has the battle cry that reduces the cost of your Librams by 1 this game. It is now going to cost 1, but its attack is also going down to 1. It used to be a 2/3, now it's a 1/3. But it only costs 1 mana, and let's face it, you're probably not playing Aldor Attendant for its attack value.
No, I can't imagine you're looking forward to that sweet 2/3 body on turn 2, you know? So I think getting the buff out on turn 1 and having something on board is a pretty big buff, you know? I haven't personally run into any copies of this, but I mean, it's the patch just went live, so I don't know. I think it's good though. I think it's a good buff. I think it's helps Paladins have the 1-drop slot covered, and getting on board I think is a good thing.
Yeah, the Libram deck especially. Like obviously Murloc Paladins, they're not having a problem with the 1-drop slot, but the Libram deck really was. So here you go. And it's like it's a 1-mana 1/3. Traditionally, we have played the crap out of that mana cost and stat line. So it nestles right into what we kind of expect from our 1-mana minions, on top of having like a linchpin battle cry for the deck that you play this card in. I'm very happy to see this. I hope that Libram Paladin has finally arrived. I'm definitely going to be taking it out for a spin within the next week for sure.
Yeah, I haven't run into too many Libram Paladins. More so that I ran into the pure Paladins who are running Librams, and when they get that train going with the discounting, and then they play is it Liadrin, the one who is it the one who recast all the Librams, and then you get them back, and then they're just free, and then you can literally buff a minion, attack with it, kill it, and then get all the Librams back, free play the Librams on another minion, and just be ready for the next attack. And it's like it's a cool archetype, and it's cool for sure. Pure Paladin, anytime I've played against it, it's been really tough to beat. They just have so much value, and they're just like, oh, we can make a 1/1 each turn, and we can make it big if we have to. Like,
it seems like it's
never run out of stuff.
Yeah, it seems like it's just on the cusp of viability too. So I'm pretty optimistic about this Aldor Attendant buff, because I think pure / Libram Paladin was really close to competitive viability before, which frankly surprises me. I didn't think pure Paladin, because we saw the pure archetype kind of coming in when we were in card reveal season, all 3 days of it before Ashes of Outland, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. There's probably not enough to make this work right now, but I wouldn't be surprised to see more pure archetype cards coming in future expansions. But never mind, like it basically worked to day one. It's not necessarily competitively viable. But it is a deck that has a clear goal, and there's enough cards to make it work that it makes sense. So, I think just a little bit here or there could push it over the edge, and I think Eldor Tenant at 1 might just do it. But it's not just Paladin getting buffs. A ton of Shaman cards got some buffs, starting with... we've got Lurker Below, Torrent, and Shattered Rumbler. I'll just start with Torrent. It's the, if you don't remember it, it's the 5 mana Shaman spell that deals 8 damage to a minion. It costs 3 less if you cast a spell last turn. It is going from 5 mana to 4 mana. So that's a lot of damage for 4 mana. Granted, it can't go face, but that's a lot of control. Now 1 turn potentially earlier in the game.
Yeah, any shamans I've ever come against have not been control shamans. They've been quest, like Galakrond, Battlecry stuff. But I've always been a fan of control shaman. It's like one of my favorite archetypes. Like I loved the combo of the I forgot the name of the minion, but you play the minion and your spells have lifesteal, and then you do the Hagatha's scheme, the board wipe, and you just like go from like being behind on board and almost dead to just playing it and then killing everything and then healing to full, and you're like, yep.
But as you mentioned, it doesn't stop there. Shattered Rumbler got buffed as well. And again, if you don't remember this card, it's a 5 mana 4/6 elemental with a battle cry that reads, if you cast a spell last turn, deal 2 damage to all other minions. Its attack value is getting buffed. It's no longer a 4/6, now it's a 5/6. It's getting 1 more attack tacked on. So 5/6 for 5 with a pretty big upside on that battle cry.
Yeah, that's great. I again never ran into this card because I just don't think the archetype was there. But the card is a great card, and having 1 more attack, could help trade against things that are a real problem. Like we'll talk about one of the nerfs later on to Demon Hunter, but this card trades into that card very well, and it didn't before. So that's a good buff.
Yeah. And then finally, Lurker Below. It's the final Shaman card getting buffed. 6 mana 6/3 beast. If you're unfamiliar with it, with a battle cry that reads, deal 3 damage to an enemy minion. If it dies, repeat on one of its neighbors. It's going from 3 health to 5 health.
So this card has blown me out, but not in the Shaman class. Some very rogue things doing rogue stuff happened, and I got blown out by the Lurker Below. And it's having more stats just means having more health just means it's going to stick on board, potentially stick on board longer. So again, love control shaman. So I think it's cool seeing control shaman buffs. I'm a fan of this buff for sure.
Yeah, and I always looked at that 3 health as a pretty big hitch when evaluating this card. Like, it's a good battle cry, but on turn 6, it's, there's a pretty good chance that 3 damage isn't going to cut it without something else to, maybe do a little bit of chip damage so that you can get some added value out of that battle cry. And so it felt a little rough having that tied to a minion that only had 3 health that's coming out late game. But now, 6/5 with enough, with, targeted removal on a battle cry. Okay, cool. I am interested. Where do I sign up? So I'm happy with this one as well. So, and I'm with you on control shaman. It was one of the very first archetypes I ever fell in love with, because I still remember being in beta and being like, wait, they have a totem that just draws cards, and it was their weapon too. I was just like, oh, it's just a consistent weapon, and they have a totem that just draws cards. Who wouldn't love this? And
yeah, I
just instantly fell in love with it. And it hasn't really worked in a while, so I would like to see control shaman kick the door down. That would be rad.
I was jamming it before rotation. I wasn't winning a lot, but I was playing it a lot. It's just a cool archetype. I've always been a fan, and I mean, I know you're not so much a fan of this, but I like the variation that shaman has, the randomness sometimes, where you're praying that you roll a spell totem, and then your lightning storm does the proper amount of damage of what they need to the right minions and stuff. And I don't know, that stuff's fun to me. I understand why it's frustrating, but it's very fun.
Ready to get into nerfs?
Let's do it.
Rad. So Rogue got a couple of nerfs. It's not all just Demon Hunter today. Rogue, let's start things off with Blackjack Stunner. So what's happening now is that basically how much it tacks on additional mana to play again, because it used to be, you would return a minion to your owner's hand and it would cost 2 more if you had a secret in play. Now it's only going to cost them 1 more to redeploy whatever card you essentially sapped back to their hand with the Stunner.
Yeah, I mean, that card's definitely annoying, and having a freezing trap like deployable at any time, like essentially any time. You need to have a secret, obviously, but being able to target a freezing trap was pretty strong on a 1-drop. It's like, oh, I'm going to spend 1 mana, I'm going to bounce your entire turn, and you cannot play it for another 2 turns. It's like, that's like pretty devastating. I know that's Rogue's identity, and that's what Rogues are supposed to do. 2 felt really strong. I think 1's where it needs to be for sure.
But the next Rogue nerf is one that doesn't surprise me at all, which is Shadow Jeweler Hanar is going from 5 health down to 4 health. I mean, this is a card where the first time I saw it played against me, I thought to myself, boy, that's really hard to remove if you don't have very specific tools in my hand. And I wasn't able to remove it. I'm like, how did this card survive more than 1 turn? And then I went out and took Galakron Rogue with the secret package out for a spin myself, and had the same thought, but on the opposite side, like, boy, Hanar sure lived more turns than I thought he was going to. And it's just because his health is so freaking high.
Yeah, it's the same thing with dude, I'm terrible with names. Like I can remember all the names of cards.
Welcome to Hearthstone podcasting.
But now that I'm on the spot, I can't remember. But the one where it's a combo and it gets 2 lackeys when you combo it. Oh
my God, Miscreant. Thank you,
yes,
chat room.
The Miscreant. Thank you. Yes,
Evil Miscreant.
Yeah. So in the same way that health needed to get nerfed, so did this. Like having a 1/5 like is so difficult to get rid of for most classes, and then on top of that, they don't play it on turn 2. They play it where they're able to combo it with a secret, and then they discover a counter spell, so your answer to it gets countered, or they're able to do a freezing trap, so where your thing you had on board to kill it, you don't have it on board anymore, and you're like, it's once it lives for a turn, it's so hard to beat. And I think having it at 4 health is, personally, I still think it's too strong. It's way better than at 5 health, because 5 health is like, if you didn't handle it, if you didn't have an answer in your hand, a way to deal with it right away, then you were done. Like it was going to snowball and you couldn't catch up.
Let's move into Warrior, which also saw some nerfs, starting with Blood Boil Brute. I'm sure you've seen a lot of these played against you if you end up against Warrior. And its attack value is going down from 6 to 5. Still going to cost 7 mana, still has Rush, still has that discount mechanic based on damaged minions, still has 8 health, but it's doing 1 less damage to what it's running into.
Yeah, still strong, still a great card. I don't think it's super overpowered, but it's a good card. It's a strong card. It being at 5 attack is definitely better than it being 6 attack. What was the card? I swear I just blank on the podcast, and I apologize. What's the card in Shaman where it's discounted for every minion on board?
Well, it's not necessarily Shaman for every minion on board. That's Sea Giant.
Oh no, that has Rush too.
Oh, that has Rush. Oh,
people would evolve it.
Oh,
what was it called?
The Mogu.
Yeah, Mogu Fleshsaber. Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, that's it. This is, in my mind, is similar to that. Both powerful cards, both good cards. A 5/8 is good. I think this is definitely a good nerf.
And then Bloodsworn Mercenary, getting both its attack and health dinged by 1, going from a 3/3 down to a 2/2. And this one did surprise me. I'm not going to say I'm complaining, because I am having a rough time against Warriors right now, but I was kind of happy with Bloodsworn Mercenary. And even though I have not been matching up very well against warriors as of late on a personal level. I've been really happy that warriors been playing a different way, that we're not really in yet another control warrior meta.
Yeah. I do like this new not new, but this like enrage kind of
I mean, tempo-y. It's a very tempo-y deck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm very into that kind of warrior. My first time ever hitting legend was with Dragon Warrior, and that was a tempo style deck. It wasn't super aggro and it wasn't like control-y by any means, but it was like you just get tempo and you never lose tempo. So this card did a good job of doing that. I didn't see this card being the problem. Yeah. So, but you're right. They shouldn't arbitrarily be like, well, no, it's part of the 3-mana 3/3 cycle, so we have to keep this. Like, it's good that they're taking a look at it and they're making the changes that they feel they need to make. I didn't, like I said, I didn't find this card specifically too bad. It's like the card they make a duplicate of. You're like, oh my god, and now there's another one. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, and like also like I'm kind of emotionally attached to Bloodsworn Mercenary because this was I don't think any other single card has done more to make me interested in Warrior than Bloodsworn Mercenary. It's like I think Warrior is my least played class. It's because I'm just not a big fan of Control Warrior, and like historically that's been their jam with, a little bit of Pirate Warrior here and there, coming out. But like when Mercenary hit and we got that first like aggro warrior list that utilized it, I just thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever tried in Warrior. So I was a little bummed to see this, but at the same time, like much like Aldor Attendant, the stat line for Bloodsworn Mercenary, that's not the main reason I'm putting this card in my deck. I'm playing it to get copies. Well, let's talk about Demon Hunter then, because everybody gets excited when Demon Hunter nerfs happen, which is apparently every patch since their release. So first up is Priestess of Fury. You've seen this card played. If you have barely paid attention to Hearthstone since Ashes of Atlan's release, you've probably seen this card come down and sworn at the screen. So Priestess of Fury's health is going down quite a bit, going down from 7 to 5. That's all that's changing. Still costs 7 mana, still has 6 attacks, still does 6 damage randomly at the end of the turn. It still hurts, but now it is a lot easier to get rid of, which I am thoroughly thrilled about.
I think I have to bite my tongue here and not fully...
Don't. You want to go get your salt shaker?
Oh my gosh. There's no card in I don't think the history of Hearthstone that's ever upset me as bad as this card. I have lost this card so many times, and it is so frustrating and feels bad every single time. This is one of my least favorite cards to lose against in Hearthstone. Demon Hunter is good, man. These nerfs have slowed down Demon Hunter. I haven't seen nearly as many as I did prior to these nerfs. It's still a good card, man. Like it's still a good card. Like 6 damage is so much damage, and it somehow always works out where they always kill exactly what they need to kill, where I am left with nothing on board, and I'm like, how did it work out perfectly to where my minions are dead? You have a 6/5 on board, or 6/7, 6/5 now on board, and I can't do anything about it. I can't develop because guess what? They're gonna die again to the end of turn. So.
I mean, I'm in the same boat as you as Murlocs in Battlegrounds. All of my second places lately have been to Murlocs. And it's always the player that's just blindly drafting them throughout the whole game, and shit just works out for them. But and I'm with you on Priestess of Fury. The only thing I do want to, I will counter your salt a little bit though here with Priestess of Fury, because I love that you mentioned and you admittedly teed it up as like an anecdotal experience, right? That they always seem to perfectly kill what they need to, and then also get the rest of the damage to your face, right? Mm-hmm. So this card is actually one of the main reasons I stopped playing Demon Hunter, because it felt like every time I played it, it always did the most inefficient damage everywhere it possibly could. It always left up the biggest threat and didn't put me close enough to lethal to win. The amount of times that Priestess of Fury either A, didn't kill what I needed it to kill, or B, didn't push enough damage to face to where I was 1 damage off lethal multiple times. Like, oh, dude, I can't even tell you. And it was part of the reason that I just stopped playing the class, because I felt like the variance was a little, like, again, that variance I talked to you about, it was just a little too high for me to have a good time. Honestly, my reaction to these Demon Hunter, by the way, Crimson Sigil Runner went from 2 attack to 1 attack. Good. This card this should not have, this card should have a 0 attack as far as I'm concerned. But my salty reaction to this is, Jirachi Warblade still has lifesteal.
Yeah,
that was my takeaway.
You're like, all right, they've taken so much face damage. They're at 10 health. Like, all right, we can recover from this. You know, like I can draw a fireball off the top, and we can do this. We can do this. And then they're like, oh, lifesteal weapon, buff the crap out of this weapon. Oh, kill this minion. Oh, my hero takes no damage. And you're like, what is happening? How do they go from almost dying to near full health? This is frustrating. Yeah,
if we're just all aboard the salt train, like Altruist is like my main offender that I look at, but my like flippant, none of these nerfs mean anything, walk away was, Eldrazi Warblade still has lifesteal. Well, before we leave the major nerfs here, Warlock got 1 nerf to Imprisoned Scrap Imp, and the buff got nerfed. So it's still dormant for 2 turns, but now when it awakens, instead of giving all minions in your hand +2/+2, it gives all minions in your hand +2/+1. So 1 less health buff to whatever minions happen to be sitting in your hand. I kind of giggled when I first saw this. I'm like, this sounds like a Battlegrounds nerf, because they've been like getting away from health buffs quite a bit over there.
Azu's a good deck, man.
Yeah. It is arrived 100%. Well, it has re-arrived. It has come back to the party.
Yeah. It never left. It's always been a very good deck. It's just been in and out of metas, and it's good, man. And a 2/1 buff is good. I think that makes the card good. And 2/2 did seem a little strong, because on paper you're like, well, 1 health doesn't matter, but like it does across a lot of minions, and they just they play carpet, and then they play this 1 drop, and they play this 1 drop, and you're like, all these 1 drops have 2 extra health and now 3 extra attack with the carpet. You're like, what do I do? So I think it's good. I think this is a more in line with where it needs to be, for sure. 2/2 was strong, man. 2/2 was so strong.
Yeah, it was a lot, and so was Scavenger's Ingenuity's buff, which also got nerfed. Still 2 mana, still droughts a beast, still buffs it, but the buff has been nerfed. It's no longer a +3/+3; it's a +2/+2. I'm still playing it. Like, it was just too strong before, in my opinion. Like, it hurts a little bit because I was playing the crap out of this card personally, but to me, this is still an amazing hunter spell.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Targeted draw is good no matter what. Like, what you're gonna draw when you play this. It's gonna have a beast tag, and it's gonna get +2/+2. So it's like, it turns your kill commands on. It makes it so, I only have the boar in the deck. So now I play this, I'm gonna guarantee to draw the boar. It's gonna be a 4/4 rush or a 4/4 charge. Now it's a 3/3, and that's significant. So this is good. I'm all for this.
You like the patch? Do you like positive? Negative?
Overall, I think the patch is great. There's nothing really that stands out as bad. I think everything is good. Everything is where it should be. I hope that this makes a control shaman archetype work. I don't know if it's enough to make it work, but it would be cool to see it be a thing. Rogue was much needed nerfs. Warrior, I didn't see coming. I didn't see either of those cards being too oppressive. I don't know. Demon Hunter, I still think is not enough. Warlock and Hunter is good. So everything seems like it's where it should be, and it'd be cool to see Libram Paladin for sure.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this one as well. I've played a lot of games since the patch went live, and I saw a good mix across the board. I did see mostly priests, which is why I was a little salty on my tweet today. But it was barely a majority priest. Like maybe two more games than any other class I ran into. So like there's some really good class diversity on ladder right now, and overall, I'm happy with these changes. I don't think they really just completely neutered any of the archetypes that were using the cards that were nerfed, and I'm very happy with the cards that were buffed. I think they needed it, and frankly, I'm still just stoked that we're living in a world where we're seeing frequent card buffs in Hearthstone. I think that's really rad.